Hello and welcome back to my YouTube channel. In this video we're going to be talking about how to read the piano hands together. As a pianist, it's one of the few things that we have to do that a lot of other instrumentalists do not have to do, and that's read two lines at the same time. So in this video I'm going to give you 3 tips that will hopefully make it a lot easier for you to read the piano hands together. All of these tips actually link together, and once you apply all of these tips you'll find that reading becomes hopefully a lot easier for you, or at least you'll know exactly what you need to work on or what you have to do in order to make reading hands together a lot easier for yourself. So my first tip is to read vertically. Normally when you're reading a book or something like that, you read from left to right and you read one line at a time. But because we have to read 2 staves at exactly the same time, you need to work out what's going on in the right hand and the left hand at the same time, obviously. So therefore it's better to read vertically so you know where the hands are lining up and what you've got to read at any one time. This is particularly the case if you are playing something with a lot of chords in it or where it's very obvious that the hands are lined up. But even if that's not the case, you should still be working out exactly where the left hand relates to the right at all times, and you will only do that if you're reading both hands vertically. It is very tempting to read the right hand going straight across because more often than not people find it easier to read the right hand before the left hand. So you end up getting carried away reading the line that you're comfortable with and neglecting the left hand, and then that falls behind, you end up panicking, and then the whole thing breaks down. But you have to remember that you need your left hand's reading to catch up with your right hand anyway. And that leads me on to tip number 2, which is do not neglect learning to read the bass clef. For some unknown reason to me, and let me know if this is different for you in the comments, but most people find it easier to read the right hand rather than the left hand. This could be because for the left hand you're reading sort of backwards in the alphabet or down on the piano, or because you tend to learn the right hand first. But either way, you've got to make sure that you can read the bass clef just as comfortably as you can the treble clef. And if you feel like you have a weakness in reading the bass clef, then just do a lot of left hand reading. You will notice when you're trying to read vertically that if you get through all the right hand notes but then struggle to find the left hand notes, then that's going to be because your bass clef reading is weaker than your treble clef reading. So once you've improved your bass clef reading, reading vertically will happen a lot faster and a lot easier. And tip number 3 is to learn chords. Reading chords is not just a case of knowing what chord symbols are and where they are on the piano. When you're reading a piece of music, it's all built up of chords, even if it doesn't look like it. So if you can instantly recognise what chords look like on a page, that will immediately increase your ability to read, and it will also help you expect notes. I do have a full video on chords if you don't know anything about chords, so you can go and watch that here. It's just important to know that if you see more than one note together, then you're definitely playing some form of chord. And in music you can often see things like arpeggios, which is just a chord that's broken up into its individual notes. Once you learn what you're expecting to see in the music, it narrows down the options for both hands, and it makes it a lot easier to find the notes around where you're looking. So as I said at the beginning of the video, if you implement all 3 of these tips together, then that will help you become much more comfortable reading hands together. Read vertically, make sure you know your left hand, and make sure you can understand some chords. If you have any extra tips or any questions about reading hands together, then let me know in the comments. If you want to book a lesson with me, then you can do that using the link in the description. And before you go on to this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe, and I will see you next time.